When I was 11, my mom had a trade show in Boston, Massachusetts. And again, I love my mom, so wherever she was going, I was going too. And we packed up, drove 5 hours to Boston, Massachusetts. It was pretty spontaneous. We didn't really have a set plan of what we were doing. I was a kid, so I was just excited to be in a different place than where I was all the time. But she did have one thing that we were definitely doing, and I had absolutely no idea what that was, of course. But that event came at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I didn't complain. I was a little angel, and I got up. I put on my clothes, a little grudgingly, I admit. And we got in the car, and we drove and fought off the terrifying morning drivers in Boston, Massachusetts. It's literally like a game of life and death. Eventually, the roads, which are, black pavement, really nice and modern, turned into brick, and they were really narrow. We park ourselves on the side, and we put our money in the meter. We walk a little bit, and we approach this beautiful, really large black gate. It's metal. It has really beautiful, intricate designs. It was a little rusted, but it made it all the more pretty to look at, of course. And we walk through. Now, I had absolutely no idea that when I walked through this gate, my whole world was going to change. It was a pretty big physical alteration from the rest of the city. The buildings were beautifully old, there were really large green spaces, but that wasn't really what caught my eye. What caught my eye were the people in this area. Now, they were pretty young, I would say mid-20s maybe, and the way they carried themselves was like nothing I had ever seen in my whole life. Well, as whole as 11 years is, right? Anyway, so these people, they had their backs perfectly straight. Their head was forward, their eyes looking towards the future. They had a glint in their eye that said, I know something that you don't, but you want to know. And they were absolutely right, because I'm a nosy 11-year-old. I want to know exactly what you know. I didn't really understand, though, that it wasn't like a piece of gossip I could engrave in my mind. It was more a subconscious thing. So we go on with this little tour of this pretty little area, and finally we come to the center statue, like the crowning jewel of this little place. And my first thing is, oh my God, somebody's defamed this beautiful statue. It was covered in blue and gold paint. Now, at the time, I didn't really understand that defamation is okay, as long as it's all in the name of sportsmanship and good fun. And finally, I asked my mom, I said, where are we? And she says, we're at Harvard University. I know, I didn't put it together. But hey, I was 11. I wasn't even thinking about college. I was thinking about how much I wanted to swim in that Marriott pool back at our hotel. Come on, they're pretty nice. And she tells me about what this place is. It's held some of the greatest thinkers in the whole wide world. It's the oldest university in this country. And I look at her and I say, could I go here? And she says, you can go anywhere you want. There's this tour guide. Now, he's not from this school. He's one of the ones you pay, those ones. And of course, I'm an adorable little girl. I have pretty little blonde hair. I'm adorable. And he comes up to me and he says, if you go rub the toe of this statue, it is going to bring you good luck. And of course, I'm 11, and I'm thinking to myself, that makes complete and utter sense. Like, I'm sold. So I run up to the statue, and I put my hand on it. I'm avoiding, not getting blue paint on my gloves, because that would kind of stink. And I rub this toe, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I want this good luck to go towards? I could put it towards a pony. Pretty solid. I love chocolate. Lifetime supply would be pretty nice. But that's not what I wished for. I wished to be like these people I saw on this campus, to hold myself like they did, and to know what they knew. And I knew the way to do that was through an education. So let's fast forward, give or take, like 4 years. I'm going into my freshman year of high school. Woo! Super fun. I'm going in top of my class. I know, middle school to high school, but it was a big deal to me, right? I had a great group of friends. We were closer than close. I was doing really great in my hobbies. I was a singer and actress. I was in a lot of shows. I was having a good time, and I was doing great, and I was making my way to being like those thinkers at Harvard University. The world was my oyster until it wasn't. You know, I should have had a warning sign when I started feeling foreign in my own body, but I was 15 and naive and innocent. I was like, it's gonna pass, right? I was really wrong. Before I knew it, I was completely and utterly ill. And I had to go on Homebound. Now, if you've never been on Homebound, it's a program that your school runs where they'll give you like a tutor, but it's more like someone monitoring your work. They don't actually teach you a lot because they're a general studies person. And I saw my dream of my education literally slipping out of my fingertips. And so I death gripped back on. I taught myself math, science, history, French, more of that. And I opened the textbooks that teachers give you in the beginning of the year to save face that we never open, and I read them. And when the June finals came around, I nailed every single one. I was really proud of myself, and I thought, you know what? This is the worst of it, and it's going to get better from here. You did your time. It's only going to go up. Yeah, that's not true. I know, right? So come that summer, I thought I was going to get better. I was going to a new school. It was going to be great. Yeah, that didn't happen. I got sicker. I was out of school more, and everything got a lot harder. I still didn't know what I had, so I just kept working on my education on my own. Before I knew it, I was like top of the dean's list. Kids weren't always nice. I had a kid tell me that the reason I was getting good grades was because my teacher took pity on me. And he also said to me that obviously I should just have my own room in a hospital because that's obviously where I belong. Yeah, kids aren't nice. It really hurt to have people tell me those things, but I didn't give up. So when I was eating lunch in my school's bathroom, I was eating lunch, but I was also reading my math textbook. You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm in my junior year of high school now, almost a senior. Thank God. And not much else has changed. I can say, though, that I have a name for what I have, endometriosis. It's really common, it affects your uterus, it's really hard to treat, and it's not curable. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But I'm still doing everything that I've been doing, taking lots of college classes. I'm even a student here. And I love my education. Oh, thank you. Yeah, come on. That's pretty good, right? Little confidence booster. Thanks for that. But it's not always been easy, right? I never felt labeled by what I had because I always kept going. But I'll never forget this day. I was meeting with my school guidance counselor. Now, I'm assuming probably a lot of you didn't have a lot of experience with them because you meet with them to set up your classes, and that's about it. But when you're chronically ill, you need to have someone who's going to be an advocate for you because you need to defend what you have and your rights as a student. So I was meeting with this person, and we were talking, and I was showing them how good my grades were, how I was loving all of my classes, how it was great, how I wanted to go to these great schools, and I was really excited for next year. And out of nowhere, literally just in the mid-conversation, this person just yells out, "You should get your GED!" Whoa, like, what? What? We weren't even talking about that. It wasn't, have you ever thought about getting your GED? Or have you ever considered it? No, you should get your GED. That was a left turn. I asked them why. Because from what I've told you, there's nothing in my actions that would have suggested that's something I want to do, and nothing in my desires that would say I want to do that. And this person says to me, well, you're sick. And imagine you could get your GED and be done and just take a whole year off, do nothing. Now, obviously, you can tell I like school and learning, so a whole year of not learning kind of sounds like hell for me. And I realized something in that moment. It didn't matter what my actions were pointing to. It didn't matter what I wanted to do. Because I had this big red label across my forehead, chronically ill, this person wasn't going to care. They had a set idea in their mind of what I am. I was going to be codependent. I was going to be reliant. I was never going to be a thinker of tomorrow. I was going to benefit from them. But that's not what I saw. I saw myself as the thinker of tomorrow, not as someone who could just benefit from them. In your life, people are going to label you. Heck, I bet it's already happened to like every single one of you. It might have happened tomorrow, or it might have happened yesterday. It happens in every aspect of our lives, from our family, to our friends, to our job, and to our schools. Now, I'm not going to say the path they're offering you isn't easier, because a lot of times it is. And it's not always easy to just go against what people want you to do. When I did that, I had really no one on my team. And it was hard not having anybody to back you up. It's hard going against the grain. A lot of times, that fire in my soul, it dwindled. Yeah. Even within this last month, it's been really, really, really hard. So I get treatment at Boston Children's Hospital. So I go there a lot, and I stay in patient housing, and there are lots of great little kids there who are sick, and I like to be a mentor to them because I'm a little bit older and, you know, the cool kids sometimes. I like to think of myself as that, right? And there's this one little girl that really stuck out to me. She was little, and we were talking. I'm making conversation. She said I looked like a Disney princess, which is like the biggest compliment, you know, right? And, you know, I just say, what's your favorite subject in school? And this little girl says, science. So, as a biochemistry nerd, I freak out. So I run up 3 flights of stairs to my, this room is like from here to here to where this lady's standing right here, and to that red, no, here. That's better. These rooms are like shoe boxes, okay? They have beds that are like this, but I'm very grateful, of course. And so I heap up all of my AP chemistry homework, and I run down with 4 binders in my hand, and I just vomit all this information in front of this little girl. Looking back, might have been a little too blunt, but she seemed excited. And I start explaining to her what her water is made up of. Hydrogen and oxygen kept together through hydrogen bonding. That's why it has such a high boiling point. And I look at her as I'm in the midst of explaining this whole new world to her. And I see her eyes. And I recognize what's in them. It's fire and desire and curiosity and interest. It was the very thing in my eyes that day when I went to Harvard University. And I realized in the midst of trying to push myself to get on this right path and fighting against the people who say I never could, that fire had kind of dwindled to a little flame. And I didn't want that. So I took a heaping gallon of gasoline and poured it all over myself, and that flame was reignited to 4 times the size. Come a few days later, I decided to go visit this little girl in the NICU. She was getting surgery, and, if I can keep these kids happy, that is one of my main goals in life. So I go visit her. And I'm there, and I'm explaining to her, different types of acids and strong bases from strong acids and how to make a buffer solution, pretty much a foreign language to most people. It's okay. And I get this ping on my phone. I'm like, who's texting me? I'm not that popular, And I pick it up, and it's an email, not a text. And it says, your application has a status, a new status. I had applied, give or take like a month earlier, to this really selective program for low-income, high-achieving students. Really competitive. And I'll be honest, my flame was low, and I really was not that confident in myself when I submitted that application, but I did. So I'm shaking. I'm in the NICU with these people I really don't know that well, so little nervous. And I open my application. And it says in big, fat, navy blue letters, congratulations. I got accepted. Yeah, come on. That's really great, right? Thank you. I am a 2019 Questbridge College Prep Scholar. In June, I'm going to the University of Pennsylvania, the Ivy League, right? I'm going to meet with admissions counselors from some of the top 25 universities in this country, heck, in this world. Princeton, Yale, MIT, Stanford. If I had let what that guidance counselors say rule my life, if I had went and got my GED, this day would have never came. I would have never been selected for this amazing program that I have always wanted to be accepted to. I would not be going to the Ivy League that I'm going to in June. People are going to tell you what path you should go on. And it's not a question of if they're going to, because they will. It's a question of, are you going to follow that path? Sure, it might be easier. I can't deny that. But it's a question of, is it gonna fulfill you, right? Is it gonna make you happy? Is it gonna make you better?